And now,
as a brown person, you just feel so invisible.
Where we're from.
Brothers and sisters, I welcome you to this joyful day.
We celebrate freedom.
Where we are.
Get on the ground.
I know someone heard something.
And where we're going.
We the people means all the people.
The Black Information Network presents Blackland with your host, Vanessa Tyler.
Welcome back to Blackland.
Hi, God loves you so much, no matter what. So be happy, okay?
Delise Curry's granddaughters keep a copy of her voicemail recording. Delise Kelly, named after her grandmother, and Lorraine Beamer Wilkinson just love hearing the voice of Mama D, as they call her. It was so elegant, so old Hollywood, because that's exactly who she was, until the deadly Eaton wildfires took her home, took all her Hollywood memorabilia, took her life.
They had to do all this swabbing of my mouth twice with some things, and I kind of felt weird afterwards.
Delise Kelly's DNA was needed for a match of the remains.
It's been pretty devastating. I cried myself to sleep last night again, just looking at all of her pictures and videos.
To Lorraine, her grandmother was a precious jewel.
Mama D, to me, she was just such a gem, right? This jewel. And she wasn't a hidden jewel. She was just right out there for us to see, and such a light, and definitely a light in my life.
She was a light. Namesake Delise says Mama D was all about Hollywood glamour.
Good black don't crack. I'm going to tell you, that woman did not look like she was 95. When she was 80, she didn't look like she was 80. And she would tell me, I have so much living to do, darling. I have yet begun to live. She still wanted to date and possibly get married, but she felt like men in her age group were too old, and she didn't want an old man. So I said, well, Mom D, we got to find somebody that's in their 60s or 70s for you, because you're a hot girl. You know?
Yeah.
So we had fun, and I can just talk to her like that.
Yes, she was 95.
I know that, she's 95, she lived a long life, some people will say, but she, like Delise said, she had a lot more to give and a lot more life to live. And she certainly did not have any mental decline, any kind of a slowing down, except that her body sometimes wouldn't go as fast as she wanted it to. But she was there for the long haul. She was planning on being around a lot longer.
Until the fire and the wind took everything.
Do you know what happened? Why Mama D never made it out?
I was her caregiver here in Southern California. And that particular day on January 7th, we knew she had an echocardiogram.
Granddaughter Delise says she and her grandmother were out late and exhausted when she brought Mama D back home. They saw smoke, but it was way off in the hills.
Fires here in Southern California are very kind of common. I think at this point we are very just desensitized to, oh, there's a fire. Okay, there's another fire. And so it just, we really weren't panicked, or there was no reason for us to feel like she was in any type of imminent danger. We smelled like smoke, but I live here in Southern California, so we smell smoke sometimes when there's fires nearby. So, and she was tired. She just wanted to go in, and I gave her a kiss. We kissed each other. We said we love each other. And I took her, made sure she was at her home safely.
Mama D did have a cell phone, didn't really know how to fully use it, even after they tried to teach her. Her granddaughters wonder if she even got the word to get out.
When someone hears evacuation orders, you automatically think that there are going to be these heroes and these firemen and these government officials that are knocking on doors and telling people to evacuate. There's danger looming. But that doesn't actually happen.
Reports are people got a text, sort of like an Amber Alert. Did Mama D get one? Would she know how to retrieve any messages?
I didn't get an evacuation order, so therefore I could have jumped up, went to go get her in time before the fire maybe had consumed her. In my logical mind, there was no way that fire naturally could have gotten all the way from the top of the mountains down to the city, the populated city of Altadena.
And I want to interrupt just for a second too, because I feel like I want to make sure people are very clear. Like, Delise did everything she could. She did everything with the knowledge she had at the time. Like, was seeing the fire so far away. Mama D had no mental decline. She also saw where it was. She felt like she was going to be okay at home. Delise would not have left her home if she thought there was any possibility that that fire would come down and be a danger to her. So it makes me very frustrated if I hear someone stating like, why did you not take her home, or, putting the blame on Delise. There's no blame to be had because she did everything she could, and we're devastated. We're devastated that this happened, but there was nothing we could do.
When the sisters realized how bad it was, they could only pray their 95-year-old grandmother did get out. Lorraine lives in Colorado. Delise lives close and rushed back, but was met about 2 miles away from Mama D's house by police, barricades, and a woman yelling an ominous message.
And I remember a sister like yelling out at me and the officers, and she was just like, the whole city is gone. I will never forget that.
The whole city is gone. Gone are items that could be replaced, along with the irreplaceable. A woman who was one of a kind.
And at that moment, things got really weird. It got really real. And I was waiting on the officer to come back down and tell me perhaps they found her. But then I just decided, he told me to go to the Pasadena Civic Center where the evacuees are. And I'm just knowing at that point where someone evacuated her. That's where the evacuation people are. So, but those were people that were able to get out and drive and go somewhere.
The fabulous Mama D did not have a car. Well, one that was ready to go on the road. She did have a car, one she kept from back in the day.
So our grandmother had a 1989 Cadillac d'Elegance Brougham, and it didn't drive, and but she kept it because she wanted to repair it, and she wanted to restore it so that it could be in movies and films. She'd had nowhere to go, and I think that's what's hurting the most, and wondering what those last moments were like when she awoke with the smoke. Was she overtaken by the smoke? And then just how that all happened. I have to take my mind off of that because that could be very overwhelming and consuming.
Can't even think of that. Like I can only hope that she passed away with the smoke inhalation and nothing more. Like I cannot think of anything else that she could have gone through. It's just too hard, too devastating to think of.
Even though the evacuation centers were checked, they knew in their hearts their precious Mama D was gone.
After going to the Pasadena Civic Center, realizing she's not there, realizing she's not at the other evacuation center, calling hospitals, calling all of these numbers, calling the fire department back, and coming with the realization that her remains could be in that house. If she hasn't called me yet, because Mama D was way too fabulous for an evacuation center. So I would have got a call, darling, you have to come right now. I cannot be in an evacuation center. What is taking you so long? Okay. So I knew she wasn't alive.
Yeah, everyone wanted to make us think that, to have hope and to, she could be anywhere. She could be somewhere else, could have had her in their home. There could be all these things. But Delise, Mama D knew Delise's phone number by heart. If there was anybody she would have called, it would have been Delise. We would have heard from her. Of course, there could have been some crazy circumstance that she was not conscious or something, but she wasn't in any of the hospitals. There was no missing. There was no unidentified person in a hospital or an evacuation center.
We were still holding on to hope.
All hope wiped out with one phone call.
The coroner called and said they did go out to the site and found human remains.
Mama D had a full life because in her day, Delise Curry was in the movies.
She was in theater and she tapped, she sang, she danced, she acted, just an overall entertainer when those type of people still existed. So she, started her career off doing theater. She was able to connect with Pearl Bailey, who's a Black icon in Black Hollywood. And she met her godmother, Madame Saute-Wan, the first Black actress for silent films with a major contract with a movie studio. She connected with her and they hit it off. And she says, well, you're my goddaughter now, and I'm going to look out for you. And that led to her getting auditions. And one of the auditions was for a role in the Ten Commandments. Well, they ended up giving the role to someone else, but they still kept her as one of the dancers to bow before the king. And that movie was, it still plays annually. And then she played in the 1954 part of, it was a movie called The Egyptian, and she was behind the queen, fanning the queen. And then that, led into roles of being on the set of Blues Brothers and just really just trying to she was in the church scene. Then she was in the audience for Lady Sings the Blues. And so she was just, always in the Hollywood circle, trying to get that big role, wanting to make a name for herself. And it's just so ironic that she was never able to make a name of herself in her life. But to see all of this happen and everyone somehow her life touching a nation, and to see how people are just so intrigued with Mama D's life and her tragic death.
Sadly, she's now starring in a tragedy, but her life will be celebrated. The family has started a GoFundMe. They want to send Delise Mama D. Curry off right.
And we send the queen off, and she just wanted us, she didn't ever really talk about her arrangements, but I know one of the arrangements were she wanted an open casket, full makeup, wig, lashes. She wanted to do it big, and that has been taken from her. But she did want us to have a celebration. She didn't want it to be sad. And she wanted hamburgers there, which is cheeseburgers. She said my great grandmother would make her cheeseburgers. And so we'll have catering just the way she wanted it. And we'll give her it's going to be a celebration of life, all white affair, because she would wear white a lot. So that's what we're planning. And yes, we would be very grateful. And we are very grateful for every contribution.
Leave me your message, and always remember, blessings upon blessings are sent your way. Until next time, bye-bye.
I'm Vanessa Tyler. Join me next week for a new episode of Blackland. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think at Vanessa Tyler 1 on Instagram.